Let's consider how we might animate a ball moving across the screen.
So we want a ball to move across the screen, and when it reaches the right side, start over at the left side. So let's first think about how we would write such a program even without animation. We need something to represent the current x location of the ball. So let's say that's ball x, and it's initially 0. And in our loop, what we might do, we want this to go on forever. So what I would think about doing is incrementing ball x by some amount, say 0.05. And if ball x is greater than 1, then I'm going to reset it over to the left side by saying ball x is equal to 0. So if this is true, then we're going to start over. Okay, now this represents what the ball might be doing, but it doesn't draw anything. So we need to think about how we're going to draw the ball. And even if we didn't do that, this is a tight loop. And we don't want this loop to spin out of control, so we would be tempted here to write standard draw dot pause for some amount of time. And what we're going to do is actually take a look at the ball moving across. So let's set some things about the drawing itself. Let's pick a pen color that we like. How about magenta? And we may have to import color for this to work. Okay, so we do that, and let's set the radius to be, how about 0.05. That should be big enough. Okay, and let's draw the current location of the ball here. And we'll do that by putting a point out at the current location of x. And for the y location, let's just put it halfway up on the screen. Okay, now if we run this, okay, so we see the ball is moving across the screen, but the old copies of the ball that were drawn are not shown. So our ball keeps going around and around and around, but we have not gotten rid of where the ball used to be. Now the standard method for doing that is before we draw anything inside this loop, we're going to clear the canvas. And there is such a method actually, just called clear. Okay, now we see the ball doing what we want it to do. It's moving kind of jerkily, so let's decrease the amount of space between subsequent iterations, make it move a little bit slower. There we go. Now to make this even smoother still, you can see it's flickering a little bit every now and then. What Sedgwick gives us is the ability to change pause to show. Let me make this change, and then I'll explain how it works. Okay, now it's moving fairly smoothly across. There's no jerking. We can even make this smaller if we want, and spend less time waiting, and it should move more quickly across the screen. There we go. Okay. So what show does is it puts the graphics output into what's called double buffered mode. And And what that means is whenever we put something onto the canvas, say for example by drawing a point, it doesn't really show up until we say show. And this allows the drawing to be done off screen, which is quick, and then when we say show, the entire canvas is shown at once. So the typical pattern for writing code that's going to do an animation is to do these 3 steps. In the infinite loop, always clear the canvas, draw whatever you want to, and then say standard draw.show with some reasonable time limit, 10 milliseconds is fine, and that will allow the double buffering to take place.